I made the best Ghost Rider figure. This is how the original figure looks like, and this is the idea. I got this Terminator for free with Amazon gift cards, and it has no place in my collection. I don't really do movie figures, but this does look a lot like the Ghost Rider costume, and it will go perfectly with my Marvel Legends collection that I do have. So let me show you how I make this Mafex style Ghost Rider. It is the spooky season, therefore I decided to make something that will go along with Halloween. You tell me a better character that fits with October other than Ghost Rider. Here I'm just sketching it, getting a feel for it, getting the proportions down, getting an understanding of the bone structure when it comes to the face, so I can later send it to the ZBrush program. One of the things I noticed that was going to be a challenge, it wasn't necessarily the skull, since I already had done a red skull before. It was primarily the fire and making it look like actual flames in the sculpt. They released an iPad version, which was pretty convenient for me because it let me take it on the go. So like, this is what I like about having it in the tablet. I'm waiting before clocking into my job, and I can work on it on the go, get it from the computer, be on my way. Anytime I get a chance, I can just like work on it a little bit, and then from here bring it back to the computer when I'm ready to edit it there. Now I can take it here, there, anywhere, and I'm still working on it. So that's why I prefer ZBrush over Nomad. Also a tip, if you're making fire, the spiral tool makes it a little bit easier to twist those flames to make it look more realistic. So when it came to the skull design, I didn't really stick to one style. I did a Danny Ketch style 90s skull with the exaggerated features, and I made a Johnny Blaze. Is it Johnny Blaze? I don't even know. Anyway, I made a more proportionate, realistic head sculpt of a skull, so it can be both styles. You choose which one you like more. Let's go ahead and check out the figure so I can pop out that neck and then make a hole in the sculpt so I can just pop it in. And then we just want to go ahead and remove this part from the neck up, since this is a part where we'll be putting the neck, the whole piece for the Ghost Rider. So now that we have the hole, we can get an idea how to make the peg for the inside. So let's go ahead and modify it in the tablet. Also, it has this additional piece of plastic on the inside. If you remove that and then reconnect the shirt, it increases the range of movement. It just looks ugly, but movement is what we want. We don't care about looks that much. Okay, here are some of the test prints. So let's go ahead and test them out in the figure. It looks good. We could go maybe a little bit higher. It's gonna be that one right there. The thing is, my main concern will be the posability within the neck. Seems like it's hitting this back part a lot. So maybe I'll have to restructure the neck. But if we curve it, it gives it a little bit more range to be looking a little bit more straight. But yeah, that's basically what we're modifying right now. So I just had him here standing next to them for scale, but I did notice a thing when I clicked on empty spot inside there. I'm trying to see if I can extend it a little bit so it doesn't look empty here. So I extended it, but I'm just gonna go ahead and send it to the printer. While the new heads are printing, let's go ahead and get rid of the paint rub. So quick explanation on how to avoid paint rub is to Step 1, sand everything you see. To sand away any type of surface that may make To sand away any type of surface that may make To sand away any type of surface that may make area that may make contact with other plastics, therefore to keep the paint intact. So right now what we gotta do is we basically have to sand away all this area, anything, primer it, and then come back to it, move it around and see what else is coming off. And that's gonna be the whole process right now. It's gonna be in the pain in the butt, but it's gonna be something we have to do. And if you don't prep for paint rub, you're not a real customizer. I'm gonna call it right now. You better prep. Totally forgot, you actually need a respirator for this thing, because the plastic particles, you don't want to sniff those in. The Dremel is going to speed up the sanding process. It's going to make it a little bit easier for us just to sand away some areas that we don't have to be as careful with. Let me show you. And this next part, we're going to go ahead and do the torso. It's because it's so tedious, bro. It's so tedious! You really got to go down, patient with it. Because we don't want to take away the detail by sanding too far away. So we don't want to do high grade, we want to do low grade. So that's why it may take a while. Also, if you like the video so far, make sure to subscribe. You can see there a bit of the paint already coming off. That's a good sign, meaning we can replace that paint with the one that we want. So just keep at it until a good amount comes off. We're gonna start priming now. When it came to the design and the colors, I just went for black because Johnny Blaze, is it Johnny Blaze? I keep on getting it messed up. The Nicolas Cage version. That guy, he has all black, right? With blue highlights. Danny Ketch has the gray pants with the black jacket. But I just went for both designs. Both have black and blue highlights. So I just went with that design instead of just doing something a little bit more towards one character and not the other. So I did a mix of both. My dumbass realized that the original mold for the shirt in the middle is actually black, so I can just pour some acetone, remove all the paint, and just make it black, avoiding paint rub. And after many layers of Mr. Super Clear, this is the result you get. We're gonna start painting now. Okay, for this next part, I'll go ahead and paint some blue highlights on this figure, just slightly so I can contrast with the red of the fire. And then I'll be doing the same process for the pants as well. So here's the basic idea. You see all those raised areas? We just want to go with the slight blue so you can make all of that pop out and then give it a light haze of blue as well. So it's kind of like you're building up on the blue. That's how you make highlights, basically, from my understanding. That's why I did it for the symbiote Spider-Man that I made, and it came out pretty good, you know? It's just I want to see how it's gonna look with blue now. In the making of this video, I got a crazy idea to make some translucent heads for the Ghost Rider. But if I would have known it was gonna be a pain in the ass, I wouldn't have done it. Let's see if this thing actually worked out. The issue that I was having is that since it's translucent, the UV light gets through to the other layers. Therefore, it would like melt together at edges where it would pool. So basically what I had to do is I had to slow it down. I needed to reverse the positioning of the... I'm not even sure if this actually worked. I'm just talking out of my ass. A la bestia, wey. Imagínate tomarte un vaso de esa mamada. The blue, it's ever so slightly, but just gives it that, you know, edges and the grooves and all that, the highlights, especially in the pants. You can see them a little bit more. Let's go to the back. You know, nobody's looking at the back, but they're still there, you know. And then all these files are going to be available in link in bio. And if you want them printed, you can contact Decent Customs in the commission section of his website. You can let him know that you want this in particular, and he will be forced to do it as long as you pay. And for Marvel Legends collectors, I'll also be making a modified neck in link in bio in my 3D codes. Now we're gonna go ahead and start painting these. As I was painting this, I was noticing that the sculpt got a bit warped. Para. ¿Te toca en el cuello? Sí. Remember how I told you guys that thing would often like warp and fuse the parts together? Well, in this situation, it elongated some of them as well. You can tell by the look of the eyes, they look a little bit squinted. I mean, to a certain extent, they look good from afar, but I know that's not what I sculpted. Therefore, I decided to redo the paint jobs, not do them in that translucent material. I decided to go for more of a peg color, which I don't mind. That's how it looks in the comics. But this is basically me redoing that paint job again with the head sculpts. Pero ahora va a tener un esculpido más definido. Y no estas mamadas. I'll be using a wet palette so my colors last longer, and then I'll try to go for a smooth transition on the head sculpt. So the way you can paint fire is you want to go in layers. Look, when you're painting layers and you're doing acrylics, and people ask me, what do you do? Paintbrushes or airbrushes? Doesn't matter. Whatever you do, you have to do it in layers. You have to do it in light coats. People that do the heavy coats look freaking disgusting, bro. It doesn't even look like a face. It looks like a melted wax sculpture. Anyway, you gotta go light. You gotta go, if you're doing, look, this, it's math. If you're dealing with dark colors, do like a dark black prime, okay? If you're doing light colors like yellows, oranges, reds, blues, you go with like a white primer. If you don't really care, you do like midtones, maybe like skin colors, maybe like a brown, and you just want to show it off a little bit more when it comes to the highlights, do like a gray primer. That's why they have black, gray, white primer. Who would have figured, right? Go figure. They have the combination of colors so you can adjust to whatever type of color you're using. That will be my tip. So here I messed up because I did not follow those steps. I did gray primer instead of doing a white primer. Therefore I went ahead and painted everything a lightish blue. No, my bad. Blue. What the hell? A lightish bone color, so I can put the yellow, and the yellow will pop, bro. It will pop like your grandma's socket last time when she fell up the stairs. Anyway, you just gotta go at it slow, man. Take care of it, you know. So I was at the gas station the other day, and then I was calling my insurance about information, right? Whatever. I was calling them and I was pumping gas, and then this old gentleman, really old gentleman, I think he was an old Mexican, and he told me in English, in broken English. He's like, you know you can cause a fire by the static electricity within the phone, and that could cause a fire, you know? And I was like, okay, whatever, right? I'm like, huh, I'm curious, but I Googled it, right? Every time you have a question, Google it. And I Googled it, and it's not true. It's not true, bro. So homeboy walking around telling people what to do, it's not even freaking true, bro. But I don't know, I just had to vent. National Association of whatever fire tried to recreate a test where static electricity will cause a fire, and it couldn't recreate it. I saw one YouTube video about it, so it must be true. Anyway, getting back to this one, I went ahead and started painting the fire. So a couple things. You want to do orange, red, and then black at the very end. You want to do the yellow from the base colors that you got it, and then after you keep on mixing them and washing them together, that's why you want to do a wet palette, because it keeps it wet the whole time. You can fix around, like move around the intensity of the fire by adding more orange, more red, or black. Black will eventually be the smoke at the very end of the fire, so you're basically recreating that. I went ahead and put in these spikes. You can't really see them because they're really tiny. There we go. That little spike, and I'm just gonna place it on top of the shoulders with some glue like this. Boom, boom, boom. Now that we have the spikes in place, let me go ahead and show you the end result. I'm so excited! Here's the size comparison with the Marvel Legends and the Mafex scaling. I feel like Ghost Rider sits pretty good in between. I know originally the Terminator figure, it is short, but I feel like it's short for it to be Arnold Schwarzenegger, because he is supposed to be bigger and he's barely hitting 6 inches. I feel like when you swap out the heads, it makes it look a little bit more proportionate to the body and doesn't look as small. You know, as long as it's bigger than Spider-Man and between Punisher height, I think it's a pretty good scale. So if you're thinking about getting this custom and doing it, go for it. Shouldn't be too much of a hassle. Yeah, I kind of messed up with these translucent heads because the detail wasn't all there, and you can really tell here. Yeah, so I really messed up when it came to the sculpt and the teeth. This looks almost demonic, but it was that issue with the resin where it just elongate all the parts and might not make them crisp like the regular resin. But at the end of the day, I feel like I like these colors more. They're a little bit more vibrant, you know, as in comparison to these ones, which are translucent. But either or should work as long as the sculpt comes out good. Geesh, I love customs. Yeah, dude, I'm like pretty happy with this outcome. I mean, I don't see any noticeable paint rub, so far so good. That's a plus, you know, always. Yeah, I didn't really struggle much with the paint rub, so if you want to do it, I don't believe you should struggle either. But those highlights, bro, oof, ooh papa, and then those spikes just make it look that good. But yeah, and then just go ahead and switch out the portrait. And this one, I tried going for more of a Danny Ketch type of look with this one, with the more exaggerated skull features. And then here's the side-by-side comparison. Here he is paired up with the Fantastic Four. You know what? I need to clean these out more, bro. I feel like They get too stacked up and then it really doesn't make the figure shine. So give me 1 second, okay, while I clean these out. This is next video's project, so make sure you subscribe so you see next video. Let me know if you like it. Bye.